Hey everybody, how you doing? Mandus Bulka here with Midwest Muscle Report. We are live at the 2016 North American Championships. It's been a long, busy week, and we have time to catch up with the one and only extraordinaire, Gary Udit. Gary, how you doing?
Doing great, Mandus.
Great. Thank you for having us out here. Now, Gary, I believe this is the third year in a row that this show has now broken records.
It has into some new territory for all of us. However, to be honest with you, since I started this thing with 175 athletes, it's actually grown every single year.
Wow.
We started out with 175 in Cleveland, Ohio.
Okay. What do you think it is that about this particular show that has really just taken off? In the past, national shows were usually talked about, hey, is everyone going to be at USA's? Is everyone going to be at nationals? And I recall 2 years ago, 2014, I was actually out here competing, and that was the first year you had that record, 1,600 and something odd competitors. And I believe that's about when you started to make the transition and the change and decided to change the format a little bit. Is that right?
Well, we simply had to because the numbers kept it climbing.
Right.
And the only way to accommodate that was to add days. So we went to a 3-day format, and then last year we had another record-breaking year, and 3 days wasn't enough.
Right.
So this year I through some arm twisting and some convincing, Jim Mannion gave me the permission to go to 4 days.
Okay.
In the Masters Nationals in July, kind of a test case.
Right.
It worked so well that he said, yeah, absolutely, we'll stick to 4 days. So
Absolutely.
now we get breaks. The sessions are a little bit shorter, and it works out great for everybody.
Okay. The flow of the show does run very smoothly. For those of you who haven't been out here yet or don't know, and that will be here next year, the year after, what's happening is they're breaking down divisions day by day. On Wednesday were the pros, men's physique and classic physique, I believe.
Exactly.
On Thursday
we had men's and women's bodybuilding.
Right.
Friday we had figure and women's physique, and then today bikini. So as good as this has run, what we'll do tomorrow, which we do every Sunday after the event, I'll get together with Jim Mannion and we'll actually tear this thing apart and rebuild it for next year to even the days out a little bit, because Wednesday was a little bit of a long day for what we'd like to see.
Right.
So we'll balance it out so that some of the stuff comes on to today, and just for balance.
But you're pretty close to having this thing really down pat. Considering the volume of athletes you have, things have been running very smoothly. I've talked to dozens of people, athletes and people that they bring, and they've seemed to really catch on to this new format. It's comfortable, it's good flowing.
Well, even though it's a 4-day format, they only actually have to be there here a couple of days. They check in one day, compete the next, and then they can split.
Right.
So they don't actually have to stay unless they really want to.
Right. So, guys, again, one of the biggest shows that you can ever be at. Again, 3 years in a row, record-breaking. Now, again, I want to touch on this again, Gary. In the past, traditionally, there was a lot of buzz of USA's and Nationals and USA's and Nationals. Do you think there's an added element now, also being that this is the only show that Canadians can come down and Mexico comes up and competes at?
It's a great show. The scheduling of it is right, because you can't take anything away from John Lindsay's USA.
Absolutely not.
It's one of our preeminent shows, our second biggest show of the year. And a lot of people come off the USA, and if they didn't win, this is only about 5 or 6 weeks away.
Right.
So they keep in conditioning, they come here, and the competition now has grown to the point, in the early stages, a lot of people actually shied away from this because they didn't want to win their pro card at the North America. They wanted to do it at one of the two big ones.
Right.
Slowly but surely, we're starting to find maybe our place on the list as not an also-ran, but maybe a high-quality event, because you can see over the last 4 days, the quality of these athletes is unbelievable.
Absolutely.
I mean, some of them were into the second and third call-out. I know this morning we were into the third call-out on bikini with some really strong competitors. So, and then obviously it's scheduled right for the Nationals, because people can kind of re-gear themselves and head for Miami in November. So I think the scheduling is what works.
Sits perfect right in the middle of the two. Those who did USA's have an opportunity to come back and do this show. those who did this show and were knocking at the door now have a chance to make a few adjustments and go to nationals.
You know, we're lucky to have Mexico and Canada involved because, as you well know, the quality of the athletes up there in Canada and in Mexico is unbelievable.
Absolutely.
So now they have another place to go to get a pro card.
Right.
And what they're finding out is they come here and they win. So it's straight up, it's judged fairly. They're going home with pro cards, and that's why their numbers are climbing too.
Right. I think there's an added element. Those of us who do come to this show often, one of the other big attractions is the way that everything is set up. You're in the venue, the restaurant is down here, you're backstage, it takes you about 10 steps, and the host hotel is just on the other side of the restaurant. So once you fly in and check in, you're in one location for the rest of the weekend. Not to mention a plethora of shops and restaurants right up and down the strip. This is about as good of a setup venue-wise as I've seen anywhere.
We've been here for 23 years now, and 6 years into it, I knew the general manager told a friend of mine that we probably outgrew the place. However, like you said, there's 10 restaurants here. There's shops, bars. Once you're here, you don't have to leave.
Absolutely not.
So it's a home run. So even back then, I knew I was never going to leave here. I was going to add days.
Right. Smart man. Well, that's why he is one of the top promoters there is in the industry. Gary?
I have to brag on my staff, though. You know, and actually, I got to tell you, it's probably not even a staff. By now, we've become family, and people request to get in our team all the time. And you got to be a certain kind of person to fit this team. If you don't fit in, you can't be on it, because somehow I relentlessly get emails after the show, and they say, that's the best team of people I've ever seen. I'm telling all my friends. And then they seriously must go tell their friends, and that's what generates the numbers.
Well, they actually have a nickname, don't they?
It's the A-team.
It is the A-team.
It's Rick Bayardi's A-team, and truthfully, they've always been the best in this region. And then now they get their hands on the Olympia. So I maintain that last year's Olympia was the best ever. We've made some changes, and this year's will be better than that.
Wow, that'll be something to see. Those of you who do compete and do know what it's like to have a show flow and run well, as opposed to having some snafus, you guys do know that when you have an expediting team back there that is on top of things, that's the dream of every athlete. That's all we can ask, that's all we want, and we do get a fair shake here. So that being said, one of the best shows you're going to be able to see all year. Again, record-breaking numbers over and over and over. Plenty of pro cards to go around, and the talent here is unbelievable. So if you haven't been out here yet, it's a show you have to come out and see. If you haven't competed here yet, it's a show you have to come out and compete at. Both Masters, Nationals, and North Americans, same location, same promoter, same setup. We will see you soon. Until next time, this is Mandus Buckle for Midwest Muscle Report. Gary Udit, we're out.